Hello guys, this is you are welcome to my channel, and today I am introducing the new chapter of class 12th of physics, chapter ray optics. I think that before starting it we should know the meaning of optics. Optics is a study of light, and I think that it is most appropriate to study the definition of light. In our normal language, we say that it is a form of energy which gives us the sensation of vision. But according to physics and according to study, it is an electromagnetic radiation belonging to region of spectrum of wavelength about 400 nanometer to 750 nanometer, and its speed of light in vacuum is 2.99 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. And this is an highlighted sentence of NCERT that speed of light in vacuum is highest speed attainable in nature. Now, if I am saying that light is wave, then we also say that it is moving straight line, that it is rectilinear in nature. Then how we are saying that? Friends, then we need to understand that it depends on the person's perception, that how he define anything. Like if I give you any remote to study, then some of you will say that it is having this much of button, it is having the cell, it is having the this is it is black in color. And if I give same remote to the another person, he will study its battery. He will say that its battery is working in on this voltage, how it is working, how it is doing that. Then it depends on the person's perception. Again, in this slide also, Newton studied the particle nature and Huygens studied the electromagnetic wave nature of the light. Guys, before saying that it is moving in the straight line, we should know that dimension is always inversely proportional to bending. That means the bending of any wave depends on the dimension of the object to which it is interacting. Like if wavelength of anything is in nanometer and it is interacting with the electron, then it will bend too much. But if it is interacting with any cushion, then it will not bend as much as we say. So that means we consider it to be negligible. That means it is still moving in the straight line. Similar is the case of light. When it is moving, wavelength of light is too small as compared to ordinary object in a daily life. So light wave can be considered to travel from one point to another along a straight line joining them. Next, what is ray? In our normal language, when we wake up in the morning, we say that open the window, let the light rays to enter the room. Then what is ray? It is a visual representation of direction of propagation of light. That means it is defining the path of light. And when bundle of rays are there, then it is called as beam of light. Now beam is also of three types: convergent beam, divergent beam, parallel beam. Convergent beam, in this diameter of the beam decreases in direction of rays. Like if any rays are coming and striking to our eyes, they are converging at one point. That is convergent beam. Divergent beam can be given the example of the sun or any bulb from which beams are diverging. It is beam in which all the rays meet at a point when produced backward, and diameter of the beam goes on increasing on proceed forward. Parallel beams consider that any beams are coming from infinity, like we are seeing of sun, that these rays are parallel coming to each other. It is beam which have all the rays parallel and diameter of the beam remains same. Next, we are talking about the beam axis. It is that part of the beam or ray which coincide with the principal axis of mirror or lens and pass through the center of curvature and mirror lens. Now let me explain it, that if bundle of rays are coming, that means beam. If any ray which is coinciding with this principal axis, I have shown it with the black color. If it is coinciding with the principal axis, then it is called as beam axis. And this diameter is called as the beam diameter. It is diameter along any specified line perpendicular to beam axis and intersect it. It can be measured in units of length at particular plane perpendicular to beam axis. Next, we should know that how our shadow is formed. In starting only, I have explained the law of rectilinear propagation of light, that if light is behaving as a wave or as a particle, we are normally considering it to be a particle at this time, then it is moving in the straight line, and it is called as law of rectilinear propagation of light. Now it can be used to explain this shadow formation, which states that light travels in straight line. Therefore, an opaque object placed between the light source and screen will cast shadow with well-defined boundaries. For example, if you consider that any bulb is on your backside and it is throwing the light, now we know that will move in the straight line, and some of the light beams will be stopped by your body. That means that area will become black and outer boundary will become lighted. So that makes this shadow formation. Now, as we know, optics is study of light. Now there is two, as we are considering that it is wave particle, it is particle nature. Then according to it, we can define ray optics and wave optics. Nature of optics, it is two types. In ray optics, it is also called as geometrical optics. In this, light considered to be move in straight line. In this, as dimensions of object are larger than light wavelength. But in wave optics, in this we consider light to be wave as we deal object of dimension nearly same to wavelength of light. In starting only, I have given you the formula that dimension of the object with which light will interact is inversely proportional to its bending. Now, if the object is too much larger, then it will not bend as much, and we consider there that it is moving in a straight line. But if object is of really small size, then we will study the wave nature of light. In ray optics, we deals with the object like mirror, lens, prism, telescope to study its nature. But in case of wave optics, we will study diffraction, polarization, interference, small aperture, etc. Now let me start with the topic reflection. Then what is reflection? Now in this case, we are considering it to be the particle nature, and this theory was given by the Newton. Newton was a great scientist. He had explained so many things, and he had also made many experiments in physics too in case of reflection. And he said that if we consider light to be a particle, then it will reflect back as a ball. For example, if there is any wall, you are throwing the ball with some angle, then it will return back in the same media. It will not cross the wall. So same is the reflection. When light ray is incident to surface, which act as a boundary for two media, it is sent back in the same media. Then this phenomenon is called reflection. You simply say that it is bouncing back of light when it is interacting with any boundary, and it will reflect it back in the same media only. In this case, it is moving in this straight line again. Now this is a surface. This is surface interface. The boundary between the two is called as interface. This is point of incidence. For example, if incident ray is striking here, any ray which is striking with the material, the point at which it will intersect is called as point of incident. And from point of incident only, we will draw the normal. For drawing the normal, we should make the straight line which is perpendicular to the interface. And this is reflected ray, that is the ray which is reflected back in the same media. And here angle I is equal to angle R. Angle I is angle of incidence. It is an angle between incident ray and normal at point of incident. And here angle of reflection, it is angle between reflected ray and normal. Now I am teaching you the laws of reflection, which is given by the Euclid. First law is the normal, incident ray and reflected ray all lie in the same plane. That means if you will take any plane, any surface, even it is rough, even it is smooth, then these two laws are still applicable. And second law is angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, in which angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. And guys, there is one thing, that light will travel in this straight media. Condition is that media is having the same homogeneous concentration there. That means if it is moving in glass, it is moving in glass. At that time only it will move in a straight line. That means medium should be homogeneously isotropic in nature. Still that condition is applied, that it is moving in straight line. and these laws are also applicable to all types of reflecting surface until it is its limit that dimension of the object is comparable to the wavelength of light at which it will start behaving as wave and move in the form of crust and trough. Now, if we consider if ray of light is incident normal to the surface, then it retraces its path. That is, angle I is equal to angle R. If angle I is 0, then angle R should be 0. Thus, it retraces its path. Next, there is types of reflection. In types of reflection, we are having the two types: regular reflection or specular, and irregular and diffuse reflection. What is regular reflection? It occurs at smooth and flat surface. In this incident, parallel rays that are falling on the surface are reflected parallel to one another. In this, all light which arrives from a given direction is reflected at the same angle. Generally, we call such surfaces as optically plane surface or mirror. In this, we generally see a primary source and secondary source as well. It carries pattern of light from source, so source is visible. Now, I will give you example. Like there is one mirror. Sun rays are striking it. Then it will reflect it in the same angle. It will show us the figure of sun also, and that sun is primary source, which is actually a source of light. And it will also show me my reflection also, which is secondary source, that I am not emitting my light, I am just reflecting the light that is coming from the original object. That means I am non-luminous object. At that time in mirror, I will see my picture as well as sun's picture. Because why it is so? Because it is reflecting the light as it is coming. It is not changing the pattern of the light. As it is coming parallel to each other at certain angle, then it will be reflected back in the same angle only. And here is diffused. Here we can say that laws of reflection are exactly followed. This is case of irregular and diffused reflection. In the instant rays, those are falling are reflected in different directions. Laws of reflection are also followed in this, but such reflection of light is because of normal. In rough surfaces, normal direction varies point to point due to roughness of surface. Thus, it changes direction of plane for all the rays. In this, we see secondary source only. For example, wall. Now see this image. Here it is rough surface. If we consider this part only, here is incident rays coming, and this incident ray is parallel to each other. This incident ray is coming, but this surface is parallel. And I said to you that this is point of incidence. Whenever we make the normal, that normal should be at 90 degree to the surface. So when I make this normal, it should be 90 degree to this surface. So it varies from state to state. And if we are making normal here, it will be in another plane. But incident ray, normal and reflected ray will be in the same plane for this part, for this small part, and it will be same for this small part and for this small part. So we can say that in diffuse reflection also these laws are followed, but because normal makes the plane different for each and every point, that's why we are saying that it is diffuse reflection. In this case, we are only seeing secondary source. For example, if rays are falling on the wall, we are only able to see the wall. Why? Because it is rough surface. Rays are falling on it, but it is diffused. It is spreading to all the sides, and it is changing the pattern, that it is absorbing some light and reflected only one color to us. And I have given here the example. If we are seeing the image of burning candle, then it is primary source. If we are seeing image of any wall, human or any object which is non-lightning, then it is secondary source. Guys, let me explain to you in more significant way. That for example, there is one mirror on one side and there is one wall. Light rays from the sun or any bulb is falling on it. If we are talking about mirror, it will reflect the light in the same way as it is coming, because normal in it is in the same plane everywhere, because this surface is smooth enough. So it carries pattern of light from source, so source is visible, that it is not absorbing any light, it is reflecting us back the same light as much. So that's why we are seeing ourselves as well as the reflection of that bulb, or we can say that sun. But in case of wall, it will absorb light and it will show the color that it is having, like blue. Thank you. Next time I will start with the plane mirror. Thank you for your contribution. Please correct any mistake made by mine. Thank you. And please subscribe my channel.